It's time for Group B. 2 games done, we've got another 6 to go. This time we delve into Group B, which does feature a lot of interesting faces, the likes of NiP, NaVi, so close yet so far to that major title, and alongside them you have North Americans Optic and Flipside. And this group does promise to hold a lot of, let's say, intriguing maps. Duncan will be shedding some light on that in just a moment. Our first game we get to see is NaVi versus Flipside. But before we talk about any of that, we are going to address this group. And why don't we go ahead and introduce it to you as we walk through Group B.
A legendary team since the inception of CSGO, the Ninjas in Pajamas are back to their winning ways. With Threat joining as coach at the start of the year, the Ninjas have been able to secure first place at DreamHack Malmö and second at DreamHack Zoe Open Summer. NaVi have made grand final appearances in the last 2 majors, but are still yet to raise the trophy. Led by one of the world's best AWP players, NaVi possess immense firepower and pose a serious threat to every team they face. After a surprising run at the Katowice major qualifiers, Optic Gaming is starting to show that they are a North American team not to be underestimated. With the pickup of the Spanish star Mixwell, they truly have become a team to look out for in the past few months. Flipside Tactics have yet to make it out of the group stages at all major events that they've attended. After a recent roster change adding Waylander, a Finnish star, Flipside Tactics are finally ready to make their mark on the CSGO scene.
And that is Group B then. Are we going to be jumping into this one with the boys on the desk? We've got ourselves Yanko, Thorin and Blue. Same 3 faces. And now we get to talk about the second group. We've touched on it before, but was there anything that you saw in the video that kind of prompted discussion? Do you want to kind of address Optic's Mixwell move? Do you want to talk a little as to, you know, the boys from Flipside and they're kind of getting to the major and that not much else? Where do you want to take this?
I mean, the main thing for me is that you look at these teams here. Okay, NaVi and NiP, much bigger names than Optic and Flipside. But the key kind of theme for this group for me is that since there is a shared map pool between most of the teams and a history of upsets actually from the underdogs to the better teams, including the first 2 matchups, it's actually a kind of a deceptively interesting group because it's not just going to be those big names stomping everyone with no chance. So I actually think like this is one where there's a bit of wiggle room if those underdogs really come to play.
Some of the stronger challengers, would you suggest, Yanko? Optic and Flipside?
I think that this is where Flipside's system comes into play with Blade, right? That's why they're not blown out, because they always have that system to fall back on. And especially at the majors, there's much more pressure on players to perform individually. You see more, you know, jitters maybe, a bit of choking, but they always have something to fall back on. And that's why teams struggle against them. They have trouble adjusting to it in time, and they've had a lot of close games. Yes, they never made it out of the groups, but they had a lot of close group stages before.
And we can have a quick look at the brackets where you will see, I mean, it's quite contrasting to have, you know, major champions, a team that's made every major, and then Optic sit there with their very first here, ESL 1 Cologne. NiP Optic will be the second game of the group. We start with NaVi Flipside. And I do look forward to delving deeper into NiP Optic, but just a quick glimpse as to why this one could be close, Blue. It's already been coined as, you know, do not underestimate Optic, and there's a reason for that.
No, not at all, because, I mean, you look at their stats over the past coming months, and there's been a visible increase in all of them. Mixwell, of course, still bringing that really strong opping power that showed immediately when he jumped on this team. Bit of a rough patch when he first went to SIVO, but that was recovered almost instantly. Not only this too, but Daps has been an incredible power force for this team ever since they've really started to get their work ethic back, because there was that whole drama with that a few months ago. That's been corrected now, and now they're getting some strong leadership behind them too, as they're bringing in a new coach into the mix.
With all of that said, I really want to start talking about NaVi Flipside, and I do think we have finally got an opportunity to do so. NaVi Flipside is going to be an intriguing matchup that I want to delve deeper into. First, we get to meet them and what they had to say coming into the major. It is going to be time to meet Flipside, see those faces that we've already about to start talking about.
Well, the whole qualifier was not so good for us. We lost 2 games in a row. Okay, we won first one. We was really happy about it. It was really important for us to win the first one. But then we lost 2 in a row. The opponents was really tough for us, but we didn't show our best game. I expect from my team like to show the full potential of everything and to show their best. And I didn't see that. I was really frustrated. I'm really happy that we won 2 games in a row today. First of all, we have like a lot of experience. We always have good preparation, good game plan. We always study our opponents, and we know how important this tournament. So that was the most important part. I was trying to do everything to get us better before this tournament. This time I will work 2 times more, and this time we will do everything to be like in the best shape.
Blade there already. Janko has touched on his prowess in game, and we're going to be talking a little bit now about these boys and also the history between these two teams. We keep throwing this around. We said this in the pre-show. We'll say it again, that there's there's a history between the two. And actually, Janko, if it's okay with you, I'd like you to kind of explain it to perhaps a newer viewer or maybe a less experienced viewer.
I mean, these teams met each other a lot through history, right? But it's always been NaVi who was the more dominant team. Yes, Flipside managed to take a map off here and there. They had that in the lower bracket at the Star Ladder tournament. They beat them on train 16-4 pretty dominantly, which was extremely surprising. But that was the kind of the first tournament after a break for NaVi. Guardian was still recovering from his injury, and these two teams have pretty similar play styles, and that's what it comes down to. They have similar play styles, just that NaVi is better at it. And to be fair, they always had more firepower in their team than Flipside.
Similar play styles, similar map pools, Duncan, as well. Let's start talking about the V.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That's also one of the problems. Like, stylistically, basically NaVi's just a better version of Flipside in all respects, even from like the AWPer to the Riflers to I mean, even in-game leader, you could make the case. But it's even worse in terms of the map pool, because stylistically, you're playing an opponent a similar style as you, and they're better anyway. They've got the advantage there. And also, there's nowhere to go if you Flipside in the map pool, because the formats that you want to play are the formats NaVi loves to play. So we start out here, Flipside bans Dust 2. Obviously, NaVi bans Cash. These are standard bans from both teams. Now, we're expecting we're going to end up somewhere in the realm of Train, Mirage. So we have a Cobble ban here from Flipside. Obviously, we know how good NaVi is on that map. NaVi taking Nuke out because, I mean, they just don't want to play that map. Historically, they used to hate the old Nuke. Don't want it now. Now that we have Mirage out of the equation, we're going to end up with Overpass, or we're going to be on Train.
Did NaVi choose to be Team B?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they would have.
So they've
we
chosen to
didn't think that
do it
was
so
gonna
they can
happen.
pick the sides. That means they're going to probably start. I actually think NaVi still would start CT side on Train.
Yeah, and it's also that they are the team who basically Cash and Nuke are the two maps that they feel weak on. Like, Nuke is the new Inferno for them, and they're really good on all of the other maps.
Yep.
So if they feel that the other team is pretty good on those maps, they're going to get one of the maps they want to play anyway. Well, why not then get the advantage of getting to pick the side?
Yeah.
Especially because they knew Flipside would ban Dust too.
Yep.
So that's the only one that's in the middle of them at the moment. So this is one of the few times you're going to see the higher seed choose to go there, because as we see, start on Train, CT side, a lot of teams can get a lot of rounds there, but we know NaVi's T side is unbelievable. So they're kind of just seeing how many do we need on T side, and then they know what style to play.
Yeah. What, you know the map, you know the side. Blue, what are your thoughts coming into this one?
I still think this is going to be a map which NaVi takes. The problem is this is the map the Flipside did actually win versus NaVi at that lower bracket game in Starlighter. But as Janko already mentioned, that was the first time that NaVi were coming back. I think that was only the second game that they played, so it was still a very rusty period for them. Guardian still wasn't necessarily like back to his form as of yet, but I think they've actually played it 2 times since then, and both of the times NaVi has won it pretty dominantly, if I'm remembering correctly. So I feel like this is still going to be one that NaVi can take pretty easily, especially now they got the side choice to start.
How about you, Janko?
They need a strong start on their T side, because they're going to have to battle it out on the CT.
And Duncan,
Yeah, I
leaning
mean,
towards
for
NaVi.
Flipside, this is one guy and one guy alone can do it, which is World Edit. If he has a big CT performance, they've got a chance. Otherwise, I'm almost certain NaVi wins this game.
It's all on one man's shoulders. Is it going to be World Edit who steps up to the plate? Will he be able to face off versus Guardian? All these questions and more are going to be answered by your casting pair for this one, as Moses and Pansy are standing by to deliver the action on Train.
Thank you very much, Alex, and the desk for the wonderful little bit of a preview as to what's to come. And this is going to be a bit of a good matchup here. I think we're both kind of excited about this one, to say the very least. And Train being the platform as to where it's being played, a lot to be said about this.
Well, actually, these two teams have played on Train very recently, just last week. Yep. I believe it was 16-13 for NaVi and 16-6 for NaVi. So 2 wins for them on Train. One obviously a little bit more one-sided, but it does very much come down to these T sides. I mean, Flipside is going to have to put some work up there because, as Duncan just mentioned, NaVi's so good on it.
Yeah, and there were issues with Flipside's Train. We saw it in the qualifiers against, I think it was Optic actually, it was their CT side they ended up struggling on. But we are live into this Flipside. Beginning on the T side, of course, NaVi did have the option of side choice in this. I hope we can get a little bit of sound as to what's going on. But already Flipside coming in with a hell of a lot of utility to play with this time. Only 2 players with armor.
And that just comes down to the tactical approach that Flipside's going to have, as the in-game leader, using these kind of nades. It's one way they can kind of even up the skill gap, because all 5 members of NaVi, they're such a deep team. So many players can have such a massive impact for NaVi. So Flipside's got to have some tricks. They've got to have some kind of a tactical approach that can neutralize that.
And C's already been taken down so drastically. Gonna maybe open up a possibility of that B hit, but then again, Flipside not really overextending just yet, still taking their time, and they definitely have that plan in mind with all of those smokes still to play.
What that does do, since he's so incredibly low, it forces Flamey to come cheat over towards that inner bomb site. You can see he's already been pretty much dedicated there, just now rotating back a little bit. Guardian, this is great information, but they still don't have the full idea of what's coming. They know no one can be Ivy, but Zeus is actually getting caught out. He's got to win this battle, and he's running out of bullets, and he still gets away somehow.
I don't know how he's gotten away with that, and relatively unscathed too. He took a little bit, but not that much. So now maybe with a little bit of a plan in mind, it seems like NaVi are working out this could still be that A hit coming in.
And Flipside hasn't even moved across the map whatsoever. They've taken these battles, they've dealt the damage, they've poked, they've prodded, they've got a lot of intel. They've taken some damage actually themselves right now. Guardian doing some good work, but still Flipside hasn't committed anywhere.
Yeah, Blade still holding back on that molly. They still have those smokes. They're just being put down right about now. So the smokes to come in, going to lock off a touch of the bomb site itself. Guardian, though, going up on the push-up, gets denied down from the push from Ivy. And now here comes a play from Flipside, aiming straight in towards that A-bomb site. 2 players already on there. Zeus will stop the initial plant, which was Waylander, but Blade's still going, and it's down to a 3v3.
Yeah, even trades all into this bomb site, but now that it's down, Edwards looking over the smoke, doing good damage, but can't find these kills. That's a little bit of a bummer for NaVi, an opportunity for him. Flamey now locked in a battle. 2 players at Flipside are very low, but they're still able to pick off NaVi from range.
This has got to be surely Blade to do this. Shara so low, 15 HP, and it is Blade to find Flamey, and it's, wow, closing out towards Edward as well. A massive round from him. 4 kills to kick this one off, and a very good start there for Flipside. It was highlighted on the desk quite predominantly that there has to be a good start for Flipside. They have to get themselves rolling, and that's a really nice way to start this one out. And
Blade being the one to put up 4 kills as well, that can only mean good things. You know, not someone known for his frag. They talked about guys like World Edit, we're going to have to be heat big. We've seen Markelov recently have some very big games for them as well. But Blade on the pistol round, and it didn't even really seem like they necessarily outplayed NaVi. Guardian gets caught out being over-aggressive, pushing down Ivy, so they got a couple gimmies here and there. We saw that weird battle with Zeus in mid where he had an opportunity to get the kill, and just nothing seemed to go NaVi's way. They had the fights they wanted, but nicely done from Flipside.
Yeah, and, you know, a lot of people will be keeping their eyes on NaVi throughout this tournament, arguably someone that people will be looking towards going very far, to say the very least. Of course, absolutely. Top 3, top 4 at, if you're being quite, you know, reserved on it. But there has been a little bit of words here and there. I think the interview with Flamey came out saying that didn't have the ideal practice. He's not feeling well either. This could mean that there is weakness to be possibly exploited. But again, this is still very early stages. This is the group stages. And it's the first real glimpse of what we're going to be seeing from NaVi so far.
The big thing as well is it's also all eyes on Guardian. He was very notorious for having that injury at the major where it seemed like he was, you know, off his game. He had to change the settings he was playing with to kind of adjust for the fact.
Higher sense.
He had to jack his sense up because he just wasn't feeling like he could make the proper movements with his arms. So this is now kind of also looking at him and saying, okay, this guy is supposed to be the best opera in the world. Where exactly is he at? What we've seen out of NaVi recently in some of their games since he's come back is actually it hasn't been that dominant individual performance from him and the team being based around him. It's been a very much a spread out effort where every player is stepping up at a different point. Everyone's putting in their 15 to 20 kills and no one's really shining too far above the others.
Well, you looked at E-League, it was Seized and Zeus who had the big games. It was Edward and Guardian who were kind of missing, which was surprising. But
Flamey as well had some light games, but I mean, there's just too much power on these players for them to stay down for too long.
Exactly that. So we've got almost all the UMPs coming out for the T side. 1 rifle with Blade, and why not? He had the big first round. He can afford it a little more than the others. But Waylander going to go dashing in towards B. But a 4-play stack from NaVi willing to greet this on the other side. Shara going to be a little cautious about this one, and I don't really blame him. There's 2 right there. He only finds 1, trading out 1 for 1 here, and Waylander not able to capitalize on any more.
Well, there's Zeus trading 1 off as well, and World Edit's still stuck in this battle. That nade keeps him from falling back. He's taking a lot of damage, and advantage goes to NaVi. This is a very good start, and a little bit of team damage coming out from Flipside, so feeling the pressure, a little bit confused by that aggression from NaVi, and this has actually bought plenty of time for NaVi for that stack to break up. Now that 3rd player that was at the B bomb site has rotated towards the outer site, and they've got a good spread on this defense.
This could be pretty tough now for Flipside. They're in a bit of a pinch in this one, considering World Edit is so low as well. He's not able to take any real straight-up fights here. It's going to come down again heavily towards Blade if he wants to try and pioneer the way into this round. Guardian going to be going for the information all the way over by Ivy. Not going to overextend time, pulls himself back in. But looks like Flipside have reset the pace a little bit and going to start considering maybe hitting that B side. 1 smoke goes down. No commitment off the back. And there's still 3 players here. Those 5.7s to hand can be pretty darn deadly. There's no disputing that at this sort of range. So again, not an easy round outcome for Flipside, but a slow, cautious beginning and build into this hit that may just about come through.
Yeah, and they have to commit here. There's only less than 30 seconds left. There's a Molotov killing a Zeus. That's huge. And a second one from Blade. He's been massive in these first 2 rounds. And nothing going for NaVi after that good start in a 4-on-3. They don't get any more kills on the entrance, so it's back into Flipside's favor. They've done good damage, but it seems like Flipside's going to be able to get away with this.
Yeah, run out of a little bit of steam there after Flipside just reset the pace. Flash comes out, slows them down. Seized and Guardian going to have to look some miracle shots here. And Seized actually being allowed a lot of room to work. A little bit surprising he got away with that. No mollies left. Nothing to stop this defuse coming in, and Guardian's taking the straight up fight. He's going to keep Blade back, but he goes to the reload at the worst time, but here comes the cavalry. Seized come in, and it's going to be Guardian with the kit on the site now. As long as, well, one of them can hold it back, it'd been fine, but no, Guardian's got the defuse. He gets it down in the end, in the last couple of seconds, and well, it did get the kill, but it wasn't fast enough.
What a miracle play, and you said it, too much space is given for that NaVi player to push in the top of the trend. I believe that was Seized.
How was he allowed to get that far?
Yeah, there's just no one spotting for Flipside. Partially, part of it is because of the low HP, but also Guardian, they have to make that swap because he's the only one with a kit. He's the only one with a chance to stick that defuse at the end, and somehow it works out for him. So a little bit of a fumble for Flipside, but with that plant, they're going to be right back into a buy. 3 AKs are going to be on the board. Tech 9 on Waylander, and Blade seems like he's just going to be the, he's actually hasn't bought anything quite yet. He's still in spawn. He's going to buy up a little bit late, so maybe thinking and talking with his troops, seeing what exactly he wants to execute.
These two teams are known for their very methodical style, just building into these rounds very slowly. So not the biggest waste in the world. And the thing actually that worked at E-League was those eventual B hits. They weren't particularly fast. They weren't necessarily the most pretty in the world, but they really did pressure likes of Flamey down. They caused Seized to pull himself constantly over towards B, which seems to be now the default, almost running out for NaVi into this one. But we do have the AWP there with Guardian, so this again could cause a little bit of a difference, but he's been pretty much negated so far. He's not had much of a play into this.
You want to talk about these teams perhaps knowing each other a little bit. If you look at this buy out of NaVi, 3 M4s, the AWP and Guardian, with these purchases, they don't have any utility left already. I mean, they've only had, Zeus has only had an HE and a smoke for the last 30 seconds, so maybe knowing that Flipside is going to go up for the AK-47s, they want to be able to challenge him with the rifles of their own, but they're giving away a couple advantages in the fact that they can't block off choke points. They can't Molotov anything. They can't slow down any kind of execution with flashbangs. So it's got to be duels one from NaVi for here on out, and the big advantage is the AWP on Guardian.
Alrighty, that's going to be Zeus pushed out, position down to 6 HP. The pinch is going to come out now from the Flipside boys, and there you go, Waylander, the first in, barrels forward with the Tech 9, going to make his way straight towards site, pick up the FAMAS and look for more. Already pushing NaVi back slowly, but Flamey and Edward going to be trading effectively into this one, keeping the advantage towards NaVi's side, and there's the clothesline coming out from Flamey and Guardian, keeping this one in check.
Looked a little bit sketchy, and you could see without those nades, it was just overwhelming from Flipside. And the smokes that they set up around the bomb site, it almost seems like it was isolating some of the backup for NaVi, but eventually at the very end, they turn it in their favor. Flipside overextends a little bit, trying to push past the bomb train instead of just getting the plant down. NaVi comes out with it. That's going to force the save out of Flipside, so now they have a chance. Now they have that cushion. You can see C's going for the SMG, get a little bit of the money bonus, but they can start building up a bank behind this win.
Again, for Flipside, a plant would be absolutely perfect in this, but you can't really expect much more when you literally have the cleanest of buys, only 1 P250 invested into, and Sees if he can rack up some funds, that would be brilliant. But whiffing a bit of a shot, they're going to have to back away, take another fight. It does mean the Waylander snuck through, but this should be comfortably dealt with. There really shouldn't be much to talk about here, as Sees will at least find Waylander there. Now looks for more, gets caught out by Blade. Again, these sort of kills shouldn't be coming in so regularly, but Flamey going to keep this one in check. There's the rotate coming out, and Moda puts up a good fight, but eventually goes down. Losing out on Siege, which isn't the end of the world. He did have the SMG, but probably could have done a lot more there.
It was a little awkward for him there. He was getting surrounded from a bunch of different locations, but yeah, no big loss for him. And now look at this, the double up setup comes out. We started to see C's do this more often, pick up that secondary AWP. It's very dangerous. And now with no op of their own on the T side, Flipside doesn't have much to challenge it. It is going to be a big test for Blade to find ways to work around these two AWPs, or at least negate them so they don't just lose players and bleed manpower away.
Yeah, and if you go back to the E-League game as well, it was Wilded who was actually up on Guardian considering throughout that game once he got the AWP. So being without that so far might be a little bit of a waste, but actually a very quick hit towards A is going to be coming out, trying to maybe exploit the fact they expected a double AWP coming into play. That could be a factor here, but Zeus going to meet Wilded and look at Waylander straight forward, and Guardian just doesn't expect it. We're down to a 3v3 though.
And the bummer here is that they did this perfectly. Guardian was blind for the first 20 seconds. Zeus playing around the edge of the smoke is going to find another one, and NaVi recovers. Everything went perfectly for Flipside to start that. Guardian was entirely neutralized, but Seized up above finds the last kill. He's the one who rotates in and stops the pressure from Flipside. 4-1 now for NaVi, and again, it's going to be a situation where Flipside, they have no money to get any rifles on the board, so they're going to have to save one more time. Maybe a small investment to see if they can get the plant, or maybe take some kills away from NaVi, force some rebuys. But now it's getting into that danger territory with this double op setup.
Yep. And towards the danger zone, it seems. 4-1, though. Flipside tactics, as you said. They have invested very, very lightly into this. Still keeping themselves well above 2K. No real worries on that front. But it does seem as though the stars of before, at least into that round, were shining again. The surprise of Seized and Zeus being the ones to be really up on point. But a bit of a 3-2 split going to be working down from Pop. And actually, Waylander just smashes down Edward. A quick bit of a removal from the site, let's say, as Waylander only recovers a Mag 7, though. But maybe if you can find any more, that'd be brilliant. But Guardian's now getting greeted by 3. The timing was awful for Guardian. Getting a little bit lackluster on the peak then and has to back away, down to 20 HP, and great deals of damage being dealt towards NaVi so far.
This has turned into a sketchy situation for NaVi, but they should be able to come back into it because Flipside, they only have the one smoke on Waylander that he salvaged. They didn't invest much into this round, and they don't really have much that they can go for from here because it's going to be wide open battles against the M4s, against the AWPs. There's no flashbangs to force him away. But still, Flipside's being patient. They're going to try and see if Navi's going to make the mistake of trying to counter with some aggression to try and figure out what's coming, see if they can get some, you know, some sneaky kills. But no one's doing that so far for the defense.
And Zeus is going to have to pick up the position of Guardian. You can see that Flamey's put himself towards A and Seized is selling out on B. So the best I thought they could really hope for would be a plant, and that may still be on the cards here, considering how they approach that B site if Waylander and Shara do commit. But this could be quite a nice split if it does come through in the end. It's going to really cause these guys to split themselves on the site, and that's what's happened right now.
It's going to have to be very coordinated. They're split everywhere. There's no one grouped up. They have no advantage in numbers, even with the weaker weaponry. Zeus now, the timing is, the smoke is going to be huge, and he's going to find one. So is Flamey. So the danger is gone. Everything gets shut down. And Navi can breathe a little bit easier, though Markov has a chance to pick a couple more off. Guardian and Flamey were very low, but thankfully there's that AWP at range out in the open.
Yeah, 12 and 20 HP at the end of those for those two players. That could have been a little bit worse than it started with, but kept, again, in check. Na'Vi seeming to pull themselves back in line, making sure they don't lose any of these rounds that you can see plaguing other teams, let's say, so far in this tournament. So keeping themselves well set. But we're finally going to see the AWP coming out for World Edit. So that's something we want to be looking at, seeing how he plays into this. Does that have an instant effect at all? But the double AWP still present on the Na'Vi side is going to be a huge hindrance to maybe it having its place into this round at least. But again, Flipside have a lot of opportunities here. It's still far from over. This is still a relatively CT-sided map to most people's opinions. And I don't seem to differ from that, but Guardian going to take a very quick peek towards B, and he's got back up there. 2 players with him.
Yeah, look at this change up in the defense. 3 players towards inner. They stacked it earlier on that second round, doing it again here, and without any of the pressure, Guardian wants to get more aggressive, close up with the AWP, and there's very few people who feel comfortable taking this fight. Guardian as one of the best. He's going to turn the corner, and he gets it. Got one more coming, but that's a good trade from Seized. Baits Waylander at least right into the second AWP.
You can see Zeus instantly ready for the kind of response from Flipside. Markloff and World both held back quite drastically by Ivy, not able to make a quick play to try and exploit that stack on B, so resetting the battlefield almost. But Blade snuck his way out a little here. He's got a little bit of room, but not much. Still on the ladder, still not finding any info, and there is Edward pushed up pretty darn close by Electric, so Blade could struggle with this one, considering there are the AWPs down at the back of Ivy as well. You can see a little bit of a peek comes out from Flamey, but it's Blade to trade out again. World Edit finally comes into it, finding Edward, but it's down to a 2v2 here. Zeus has the shot, he adjusts perfectly on it, but World Edit on 2 is going to keep this one close. He knows where Zeus is, roughly down by the old bomb train. Flash comes out, but Zeus going on a bit of a mission here. Going walkabouts all the way around the map, and now World Edit can adjust. Chooses to go for the M4 over the AWP. Here's a molly, a flash, and a smoke, so still a little to work with, whereas Zeus has nothing here.
This is going to be really tough for Zeus to find him out. World Edit, though, and he takes the angle. Zeus has to find him. There's so many different places he can be in. He's just left in a really, really tough spot. That's kind of the danger when you rotate around through CT spawn like that. That's a lot of time for your eyes to be taken off that outer train yard. And the reason he does it is the danger of that AWP at the range he was at. He doesn't want to have to mess with that, doesn't want to have to get into that long-range battle with an AWP. But still, World Edit gets plenty of time to readjust his position. So nice win from him, 2-5, but now they have to build on that because buying into this round, it's only World Edit who really has any kind of economy left over. Everyone else is kind of, you know, bought out towards the end. So if they lose this, it's going to be back onto pistols again. This
could be pretty treacherous, but this time around we're seeing the more default. We saw Ely coming out from Na'Vi where you've got that 4-1 play, but it's Edward getting aggressive down towards Pop. He's going to be looking for info. You can hear the spray coming out, but Flamey going to walk away on 14. Shara going to try and build off the back of that. Seized. Not landing the shot. Somehow Shara gets away scot-free.
That's a pretty smart play. It's very, very aggressive from Shara, but he knows or he gets the idea that he can at least have a chance to get a couple shots off. Unfortunately, he just doesn't land any of them. Now sees this is the battle he wants to take, and that's an easy one. Waylander out in the open. He goes for a second, doesn't get that flick. A little bit partially blind, but meanwhile, they've snuck out lower ramp. It's going to be Flamey who's got to be very careful.
That 14 HP better come up with the goods, and it almost does. It sees, though, to keep control of this one again, catching out Shara eventually, but Blade does get the bomb down on 1 HP. It's a little bit worse for wear here. Markov does have the molly, but 1v4 is closing in on Miracle sort of territory here, and Edward already going to go for the fight, and you can see the fire comes in instantly. NaVi not going to let that one happen. They're going to close this one out, and again, Flipside's money wasn't looking great before, and now, well, not going to be looking too much better. So, NaVi building well, starting to, you know, get a little bit more dominance building back into this one, and Flipside going to have to look at what they can do here. Well done, it was fine, because as you said in the last round, did have the economy building early after that 3K first as he picked up that AWP, but we're going to be seeing the pistols out again.
Yeah, they just can't do anything with this buy. That would concede so much power into this half. They've got another chance here where they can save one more round. That plant's going to help out moving forward. So just the pistols. There were opportunities in that round for Flipside. You know, we talked about Shar missing his 1 kill. I'm not sure if Waylander thought he was completely hidden, but C's is going to take that all day long. Unfortunately, the bummer is they had the economy of NaVi very low. They had him in that situation where they could break them if they just had won another round. But now with the fact they only killed 1 person in that, NaVi's able to build right back up again. So it's going to be another situation where the economy of NaVi is very strong, and they've been doing this all half. It's been Guardian before, but Flamey now pushing up Ivy is going to gain them a lot of info.
You can even see the way they're coming into these rounds. They're playing quite deep, I guess, at the start when they know they're coming against pistols. This time, Edward is going nowhere near Pop before. I think it was Wayland who managed to catch him out with the Mag 7. Not going to be able to be doing any of that this time around. So again, NaVi reading this well, and look at Flamey. This guy is getting so much information already. Marklov's going to just peek out. Great timing on that. I don't know how he expected it to happen. I'm not sure he heard a step possibly, but Flamey now in a bit of a dance here, but he knows where they're heading towards, and they're going to take this as the word go, basically, and it's going to allow the rest of NaVi to try and just tighten that noose, and that's exactly what's happening, leaving Blade again, your last man alive. An easy cannon fodder for Guardian in the end, just going to build up those stats and start looking pretty comfortable here. This is a good CT side starting to come out.
That push from Flamey, it almost makes Flipside feel really uncomfortable. It seemed like they wanted to wait a little bit longer, but Markov's just like, all right, we've got to go. We're about to all die. And they just executed a little bit earlier than they were comfortable with. And NaVi, you're right, exactly. Just easy picking at that kind of distance. So now back with the weaponry. The AWP is back in World at its hands. They have the smokes. They have some flashes and Molotovs to use. Got to start putting rounds on the board. This double AWP setup for NaVi has been very strong since it came out.
Yeah, it's been incredibly impressive. And look at this. Again, the CT side is just really bringing variety to the forefront here. Seized coming over instantly to try and support by A, maybe expecting one of those fast hits that came up before on that buy-up when they had the AWP previously. Not going to be the case this time. Looks a little more default than usual, or at least a little bit more stacked towards the A hit. But again, NaVi seem to be mentally very well prepared for this.
And this comes down to Starix being one of the most well-respected coaches we have in the pro scene, and the different looks that we've seen him throw at him. Even gambling with putting, like you said, no bodies at the inner bomb site initially on this round, expecting that kind of a fast play from Flipside. Obviously have a lot of knowledge of how they like to play because they've played them twice in the past week or two. And Starix is just seeing he can catch him off guard with some kind of a setup.
We'll see if it works out. Still a minute on the board. These two teams like to run that clock down as long as they can. There's still so much utility with the T side. There's no rush on this. They can play those smokes out as they feel. But again, maybe hoping that they could catch someone on a bit of an aggressive stance. Not going to be the case this round. As we noted, it was all attention towards A for the CT side. But bringing it back in, Zeus pushing himself up pretty close again. This play by Electric has been paying off, and then some. He's got the support of Flamey. He's got Guardian there down by the back of Ivy. Hell, he's even got Edward playing up by Pop. So this is a very instant contact play, and here we go. Edward's going to swap the feet coming down the ladder. Doesn't expect the second. Wayland's got another shot at it, but the second by the cherry doesn't go any better, but it's Blade again with the goods coming up through Ivy, and Markov joins in, and that's 4 kills back-to-back, just given over towards Flipside, and now Seized. Gonna have to do some insane play here. Whiffs the pop flash over the top. Gonna go for a quick, aggressive play. Try and catch off the bomb plant. He gets out Markov now 1v1. Blade with 2, Seized with 2. And Blade, nerves of steel there, gets the bomb down. And Seized doing a bit of a dance of death here with Blade. Nade towards the left. Blade is low. That's 39 HP, down to 20. And a sick bit of play from Seized coming out, keeping this one again in the hands of NaVi. It seems that nothing Flipside do is ever good enough.
Well, that round was definitely good enough for Flipside. There were actually 2 great crossfires set up by NaVi at this outer train yard, and for whatever reason, it just seemed like once initial contact was made in ladder room by Edward, they stopped trusting the setups that they had. Zeus fell without getting a kill. Guardian looked away from his spot for just a half second. That's all it took. And then Flamey was left all alone, and he eventually falls. But Seized with the heroics really pulls him out of a tough spot. And Flipside, that's one of those rounds you lose that in a 3-on-1, and that's just got to make you feel so much worse for the rest of the half.
And it felt like it was such a long time in the making as well. These guys haven't had great success making it towards the A-bomb site. As you said, the crossfires did pay off, eventually coming in towards it with Blade and Markelov. So surely a really frustrating round to be sent back in on. But 8-2 scoreline-wise, any NaVi fans out there are going to be very pleased with this as a beginning for them after a couple of questions of their performance, I guess, individually, and how is Flamey going to fare? How's he feeling? This hasn't been a huge test of them so far. They've been keeping this one into check. But, you know, Flipside in this round have so little to play with. A couple of Deagles, Tech 9s, a P250, and a Flash for World Edit. So, looking to do some damage. Last time, I think they took down a couple of players. Almost got a bomb plant out of it, but Zeus up so close and personal. Not going to allow Blade to step out too far. Takes a touch of damage, but nothing much. But it's going to be Seized who has to come up with the goods this time. He's got 3 players looking to exploit him, being a little bit aggressive here. The molly goes down in upper, does catch out Waylander, and it just seems so cool under this pressure. And look at that play from Seized. This is a player on point. And now it's Markelov left with nothing to do in this round.
We mentioned Seized has been one of the standouts for NaVi recently. He's at 16-4 so far in this match. He has an incredible performance so far. Obviously, that 1-on-3 last round is incredible. But again, another look from the defense as well from NaVi. Another way they're putting pressure on Ivy with Flamey pushed up halfway, just waiting for Guardian to take the shot. Kind of a bait and switch. So NaVi being very deceptive in their defensive setups. And this was an easy round. And it all stems off the fact that with Seized playing like this and just the type of player he is, to have that much faith in one person holding the inner bomb site close up with an AWP the way he was, that's a lot of trust in him to be able to make the smart play, make the good decision when he has pressure put on him.
Yeah, incredibly cool and calm in that situation. It is incredibly hard when you've got
It's paying off, right?
It is, massively so. It's ridiculously good how well he's playing at this point. And why not trust a player if he's having a hot couple of games? If he's having a good run of things, why not give him that? It gives so much over towards the team. 9-2 now, though. Flipside starting to look a little bit worse for wear. 2 rounds is just not good enough at this point. And if I'm not mistaken, they did pick up the first pistol round as well. So only 1 real round off the back of that, and that was given over by World Edit with that 3K that he picked up.
Again, another round where NaVi sends the majority of their players, all 5 in fact, out towards the A-bomb site. No one watching in or sees just now rotating back. The scary thing about this is one player has already crossed towards upper. They could have already been pressuring him, so he's counting on the fact that they've beaten up Flipside enough to where no one is going to be confident enough to make that aggression. Guardian misses the initial shot, but again, it's this bait and switch setup, and we'll have to see how it plays out.
I don't think I've seen Flamey push up to this spot, at least so far. So
Last round he did it, but he didn't, they didn't see anyone.
Right. So again, I love this variety because NaVi seem to always, every now and then, they seem to switch a couple of pieces up in the NaVi puzzle, I guess, and it always pays out so heavily for them. So this is a good look for NaVi right now. Flamey can just lock off Markelov, who's been liking to pressure down Ivy. You saw it in the last round as well, we only had the Deagle to work with. Likes to play that kind of catch anyone on the back, but at the moment, they've actually caused a little bit of trouble here. Looking at the B side, there's absolutely no one there. Seized has pulled himself over, so in theory, Flipside, of course they don't know this, could easily walk in towards that B site and have an absolute whale of a time, but not going for it in 34 seconds left. This is going to come down to the wire.
Yeah, this is looking like it's going to be a fake from Flipside, and they will eventually head to that inner bomb set. The bomb is there. Markelov, he can't even get that first kill. Flamey does find him, but it's pulled Seized away. So the fake has worked. There's been a trade. It's a 4-on-4, but it's going to be easy access into this bomb site. Blade still fighting outside, and there's Seized. World Edit picks him off, patiently waiting on the lower ramp. And here comes the bomb plant.
Okay, now into the 3v3. Let's see what they've got as a setup here. The retake's going to be pretty tough from NaVi. Waylander, Shara, and World Edit all staying down pretty much by the bomb site. No one retracting back towards the brown halls, but Guardian, first one to go looking, and he's going to find it. World Edit gets absolutely smashed out of this one. Now 2 left, Shara and Waylander. Better have a 6 set up here, and it's not good enough. Waylander gets swept aside, and Shara not going to have the impact he wanted. Means the defuse is coming out, and NaVi again starts stretching their legs further. This is a bit of a whitewash so far.
Yeah, such strong coordination from NaVi on that retake. Even with Seized falling that time, a 3-on-3 with the post plant and Guardian. I mean, he picks off World Edit, maybe a little bit of an aggressive peek from him. That's a crucial position, especially with the AWP, to hold to protect your teammates who haven't been able to get out of the bomb site. So 10-2, the fake works, and that's the thing with Flipside. Some of the tactics they've ran here have worked initially in these rounds, and it's the late round situations. It's 1-on-3 from Seized. It's that 3-on-3 beautifully executed retake from NaVi. Flipside just can't handle it at the end of the rounds.
Well, this is the thing. They are often hailed as the mini NaVi tactically to some degree, but then they always seem to lack the firepower unless someone has those big performances. Now, of course, a couple of players have been playing well, and a couple of players have had those individual moments, but it's just not consistent in comparison to NaVi at this point. But again, it's so hard to know what you're coming up against with NaVi here.
The big thing about the firepower with Flipside is that Blade is actually leading the way in terms of fragging power for them at the moment. He's doubling up his nearest teammate. World Edit, Waylander, these are the guys that you expect to be the ones putting in the majority of the work, at least on the scoreboard. And when Blade has this many kills and his teammates don't, something is going wrong.
Something's going wrong this round already. Markelov gets swept aside. He's removed from down by Ivy. That's going to give Guardian complete vision. And it's allowing a couple of players to get themselves into a bit of a different spot. Already starting to read into what Flipside were intending to do this round, but Zeus pushing up as well. Blade, it's a dangerous game you're going to be playing if you even fancy going out that way. Got to be careful on that. Zeus going to smoke himself out. And Guardian actually backs off from this, so not overextending, not going to stay his welcome. And now 50 seconds left. This looks like a B here, but it could change up at any second here.
The issue as well for Flipside at the moment is because of this passive playstyle. I mean, look at this. Guardians just picking them off with the AWP. They've lost 2 members, and they haven't made progress anywhere. They haven't even probed enough to know what kind of setup they're executing into. It's just one of those things where eventually the call comes in to hit the B bomb site, and you hope and pray that the setup is ineffective from NaVi, but so far it hasn't worked out that way, and Zeus on the flank.
Well, it knows this could be a possibility, but it doesn't seem to matter. The spray almost connected towards Shara as well. The 2 remaining players are in a world of trouble, and Guardian just puts them out of their misery with Edward in tow, and this has been a beautifully read game from NaVi so far.
I mean, the picks by Guardian just allows Zeus to basically corral Flipside and have such a fast flank, even when they get into the bomb site. Even with World Edit knowing that it was a possibility, still can't win the battle. It's still just a little bit unexpected. 16-5 for Seized, 12 kills each for Zeus, Edward, and Flamey. And this is just suffocating defense from NaVi. They've thrown so many looks at Flipside now that Flipside is really unsure how to play the beginning of these rounds because they face the aggression, they face the close-up NaVi members in choke points, so they have to be very careful of how they approach everything. And it's just NaVi's thrown them completely off their rhythm. This has been a really nice game plan out of Starks.
Well, limited work put in at the start, they said themselves, but it's clearly paying off and already damage being shoved into the face of Flipside here. Look at this play. Guardian and Edward having their way with them. And my word, Markelov and Waylander just left there reeling at the back of what's just been done. And Flamey and Zeus finding the last 2, trying to find their way out towards A, and they're just being locked out here.
And finally, it pays off for NaVi. That was another round. They send all 5 members to that outer bomb site. Just they've been waiting patiently for this fast tactic from Flipside to come out towards that A bomb train, and it's finally paid off. They ran it 2 or 3 times, and the fast tactic didn't come. Finally, it does, and you can see it's just a slaughter. So really nicely done from NaVi doing their homework. 12-2. I mean, even if Flipside gets this last one, it's such a dire situation for them going into the second half.
We have a double AWP and an auto sniper. Why not? Why not? You know what? They can barely get a buy-in on Flipside side. So it's not a great position to be in, and Zeus is the one with that auto sniper looking to do the spam right through towards upper, and no one's there right now, but bear in mind Waylander and Shara weren't far off at that point.
It's the psychological damage of just hearing that gun go off. That,
we have not had a good half.
Like, this is not going to go well.
Guardian's getting angsty here. He wants to find this. He knows Markelov's been playing this spot, and he is so hungry for this kill.
He knows he's there, and he's isolated him. He's prevented him from falling back. So now Guardian just is like a shark, but that's a great shoulder peek from Markelov. Still can't get much out of it.
Here comes the cavalry, very loud as well. Guardian finds that even through the corner of the wall, but it's going to spur on the play from the T side now, trying to make their way towards the A bomb site. Finally having some fairly good trades into this, but Flame is now going to pick up the mantle, and it's going to pay off just as well with Guardian's AWP rattling off as the final shot of this half. And 13-2, Moses. This is not a pretty picture.
This is why NaVi is so good on train. This is just an incredible defense, and now you switch over to a side of the map where they're probably the best team in the world on the offensive train as well.
All right, guys, that was the first half, and it's not looking good for Flipside. Let's see if they can recover on the second go of things. brutal first half here between NaVi and Flipside. Merely 2 rounds gathered for the Flipside boys, one being the first pistol as well, and NaVi looked dominant so far.
Yeah, it's almost hard to say, but Flipside, they had some really good ideas. They had some successful starts in some of these rounds, but that's where it comes down to the individual play of some of these players on NaVi. It's just that the skill on this team is just unmatched on Flipside. We saw Seized have that 1-on-3, and once that happens to you as a team, that's just crushing, because that actually happened, you know, just about halfway through the first half. It happened pretty early on, so you could see Flipside is just like, well, we can't get anything to go right at the end.
And it's a great point for NaVi as well to be meeting, not necessarily critics, but even their own thoughts, how they come into this, knowing that we're not in the best position. We could have maybe done more if we were in a better, I guess, place here. Unfortunate timing for a player to be ill of Flamey's caliber, but again, we've seen others pick up and take on that mantle. That could be an issue down the line, but for now, this is NaVi proving a point. This is a very strong showing.
Well, it's sick strategically from NaVi, the setups that they used, the different kind of looks that they gave Flipside had to make them feel very uncomfortable. But, you know, I mentioned this right before the match started. This NaVi team is not one where there's just one shining star anymore. You look at how the kill spread is. Statistically speaking, all 5 NaVi members are within 3 kills of each other. The top is at 16 with Seized, and the bottom is Zeus with 13. So there's no one lagging behind, and everyone's putting in just their 1 to 2 kills. Everyone's playing their role. Everyone's doing their job, and that's when these teams start to become very, very scary.
Yeah, that might be the NaVi beast that people were scared of possibly coming to this event, but it is the first game of the groups for them here, so a long road ahead of them. And it looks like we already see a plan building into this. We've got the Molly with Seized coming out there. Guardian going on the utility too. Curious if this will be that B hit, of course, with the Molly to be placed on the B side. But there is a smoke in Shara's hand. So again, this could be countered to a degree. And let's see if Flipside have read into this. Is this another play they've read from NaVi? Because you know you're going to face these guys on train. This is a very predicted pick, I guess, of map. So let's see if the work's paid off for Flipside, as they need the start here. No two ways about it.
The big thing is Seized will not make the entrance into the B bomb site with him. He has a Molotov. He will stay in these box halls. That is for the plant to bounce off the doorway. If it does come down to that kind of situation, he is the insurance policy to make sure they cannot defuse it. Likewise, Shara with his smoke, that's the one that's got to be saved for the bomb train if the bomb does get planted here. He's got a job to do first, though. Long range, this is where you want that pistol, that ranged pistol to do the work, but he's flashed off.
And look at NaVi. They're going straight in for the fights here, trying to bring those Glocks to a range that they can actually work in, but Shara welded and Waylander all over on the side. Edward hit the shot. No, he misses it. Waylander's there, catching out too. And so far, Flipside are holding this one just in check. But there we go. Flamey and Guardian now the last 2. They have no step towards the site. Guardian, however, still at least does have the bomb, so maybe could find a piece of work to build here. It's not all over, but with merely 25 seconds and Waylander starting to warm up, it's looking good, but Guardian's going to claim him. But it is a 4-man clean-ish round, I guess, for Flipside. And for them, it's do or die here at this point. You can't afford any round losses.
NaVi was hoping the attention of Flipside would be drawn towards that lower ramp. And it just didn't happen that way. So they pushed up the upper and they got one picked off and they kept trying to be aggressive, but by then the rotation was in. The bomb didn't even commit to the site because they just got beat up so badly there was no point for the bomb to try and go in. So both pistol rounds won by Flipside, which is odd to say because it's not too often in this situation you win both pistols and you're down 10 rounds. You only have 3 total in this match.
The Deagles can be deadly.
5 of them as well.
Oh, all right. There's the first tag. All right, Blade down to 70.
And you can see the kind of idea that Ever has. He takes the shot. He's not even going for the kill. He just wants the tag, because when you have these 5 Deagles and each one just gets a tag, they can be dangerous in that sense as well. You don't have to commit to try and fight for the kill.
And now it's going to spur on Seized and Flamey to start making their way through Ivy, knowing that maybe there's a little bit of a weakness, a possibility to do some work, but the flash is going to hinder them slightly. But look at Markelov's HP as well. This is a slow game. This is a slow, strangling play coming out from NaVi, and another tag to follow towards Blade, but it's not going to do the job, and Blade going to hold the line. And that is massive for Flipside here, to not give up any room. But Guardian and Edward still going to be desperate for opportunities.
And now it's very unlikely they can actually win this round for NaVi, but the idea is Markelov and Blade are very, very low. See if you can get 1, maybe 2 more kills. And there it is, Guardian, that's sick. Now it opens it back up. Yeah, now it opens things back up.
Guardian still looking. His teammate Edward has fallen. It's still all down to him. He's got 25 HP, no utility, no armor. This should be a clean finish from Flipside here. But then again, let's remind ourselves, Markelov's low, Blade is low. It's Shara. Oh my God, Guardian. That is obscene, and he's still alive. He's still got a chance here. That's 3 kills. Blade goes down. This is unbelievable. And now 1v1. He can find Shara here. He's on 3 3 HP. Shara has everything he needs, and he finally keeps it in check. But my God, Guardian, that was sick.
That's unreal what he just did to Flipside, and there's nothing on Flipside that can match that. That's incredible that he almost wins this round.
This shot as well.
The longest possible range you could have had. Really, really incredible stuff from Guardian. But now moving forward, even though they don't win the round, look at all the damage they've done to the economy. The CT side economy is so fragile on a map like Train as well. When you start getting punished in this sense, what are they going to have to actually hold off? You could see, look at this buy that NaVi's put together simply because of that damage. And Flipside is not prepared for this. They have a pistol hunt world at it.
That was so dirty. Wow, okay, that's a little worrying. Of course, World Edit will be maybe wanting to look at getting the AWP at some point during this game, but it seems round by round is all they can look at this point. If someone like Guardian's already going off, you can only imagine what's going to happen down the line here, but there is still rounds to go. And this time, again, we see the mollies here in place with NaVi. They can do a good B hit, they can use them to clear corners, or they can save one back and try and keep it for that plant. Defend it as best as possible. Here comes the instant fight, and the contact works out straight in. So little utility to be put in their way from Flipside. They're just bullying their way through. Edward finally gets held back by the flames, but beyond that, there's not much stopping him, and there's the other spray down. Finally, a response comes out from Blade and Waylander, but this is a 3v3. That bomb is planted, and they have players in position, but no mollies to stop the defuse.
Yeah, no more rifles as well. That might be a little bit over-aggression for the AK and Galil to be the ones pushing when you have Tech 9s and Deagles at range. Guardian, though, he's going to do some more damage. He pulls him off the bomb at least, trying to land that one more headshot. There's the diffuser going down. And actually, there's still Markelov very, very far away. He's got to make his way to the bomb site. Guardian, oh, that would have been a beautiful shot to hit, and he goes for it, but Markelov's got the cover. Another round that's so incredibly close, and NaVi with another plant might just decide to keep the pressure up.
These, as you said, these rounds being so close, why not? The two rifles that were invested into by Flipside do at least get brought back over. So Blade and Markelov going to retain those. They can share out the money as they feel free. But let's look at NaVi here. They're not known for going for, I guess, questionable buys, but they're going to invest into this one. They're going to go for the rifles back out. They have 3 players clean up on it. You've got a Galil with Zeus. Okay, Guardian with a Galil as well, but it's decent enough. They have enough to build off here.
And they have a lot of rounds to play with. It's not like this is, you know, repeated force buys. There is a reason why they're doing this, because they know the economy is on the breaking point for Flipside, and especially on T sides of Train, you always want that CT team to be on the breaking point. That's how you get your rounds on a map that can be so one-sided. And this is very aggressive. This is not the slow-paced NaVi that we're normal to seeing. They want to get in, they want to get aggressive. Markelov is being very passive, but it's Blade who's manning up, who gets that first headshot, and there he is with another.
Absolutely sublime crossfire coming in from those two. But again, it's still kept into some sort of dangerous area until Well Done It found Zeus. That's going to leave Edward 1v3. He has no HP almost at this point. Not enough to take any clean fights, to say the least. But there's Markelov and Well Done It. Not expecting this. No one's really watching the Ivy play. Of course, they're watching the push, but not the peak. So I wonder if Edward's going to try anything here. They do have rounds to play with, as said, but with 15 HP, it doesn't seem much point.
No, there really isn't, and this is good for Flipside because they've withstood the pressure. You know, after this, because there's only 2 kills that go out, it's not 3 or 4. There's no plant as well for NaVi, so they're just going to save next round. Even if Edward has this AK-47, they're just going to say, all right, Flipside has survived our early attempts at breaking the economy, trying to catch him off guard. It doesn't work. Save 1, and then they're going to have essentially the full losing bonus built up as well. So that next buy after 1 save will be very, very powerful.
You can see that Flipside is so cautious to even go hunting for this. They really can't be affording to lose any guns at this point. They need to keep this in check. They need to build their own money up as well. Yeah, they have to drop a gun over to Waylander. He's only got $150, so they need to give him one. And it's also, I mean, you could just kind of see Flipside's being, just individually, some of these guys are being very passive. Markelov was so afraid to peek that corner until Blade made the initial contact. Then he comes in. So he did patiently wait for the crossfire to get set up. But usually at that corner, you are the one to make first contact, and he just kind of fell away. So scoreline-wise, Flipside maybe showing signs of life here, but this is so early into the game, and NaVi have so much room to play with throughout these rounds. They can go for possibly risky investments down the line if needed. But let's see what they go for here. Again, they do have the rifle still with Edward, but everything else is possibly pushing it a little bit far. But we saw what can happen with just one Deagle. Well, they haven't even gotten to the final boss yet. Guardian hasn't even picked up an AWP in this half. And that's when things are really going to start getting dangerous, when he's going to have time to sit in T-mid or sit over towards Ivy, use that op to try and get someone out of position to try and find that opening kill. And look at this inner rush. Only 1 member here. Shara. Yeah, but he senses it. He already falls away. That's a nice nade on a Guardian. That stops the pressure as well. And it has stopped it. It has completely and utterly halted that train in its tracks. That cannot go any further now, and that's a brilliant bit of play from Shara, considering, excuse me, he does get overlooked sometimes when you discuss this Flipside tactics lineup. That was a good moment for him, even though he gets no kills off the back of it. Just to deny any initial start here for NaVi is going to send them back. But these guys, known for their build-ups on this map, they can go back to that slow pace. They can fall back to any style they want. But those pistols going to find it hard to maybe find their place in these rounds.
Very interested, because this is almost looks like it's playing out to be a fake. And it actually, they're lining up for a smoke execute towards that outer train yard. The bomb is on C's, and he hasn't moved from box halts towards B. So that's eventually where they want to just pull one member of Flipside away towards that outer train yard, maybe both. It's usually doubtful until the bomb is spotted, but they just want to have that window of opportunity to get the plant. And actually, with Edward throwing that smoke, it could just end up being some kind of a double fake, but no one's committed.
They're using their players as the fake.
Yep.
They had no utility. They have to put the players out there. This is literally throwing them to the wolves. Seized is waiting back. Edward's the one with the firepower, so he's going to be waiting out, taking his time on this one. The kills are going to come in regardless. This is pretty comfortable and good stuff from Blade, individually having a good moment there. But Seized looking for the plant now. If he can find this, that would be brilliant for him and the Na'Vi side. But Shara's moving it. They do get the plant. So I guess at the end of the day, that's probably all you can hope for, unless Edward had a massive impact or something very strange happened there. So still getting something out of that round, even though they didn't get a singular kill.
Yeah, that worked out perfectly for Na'Vi. That's the best they could have hoped for, basically. And now we have the op on Guardian. With that plant as well, that's huge for Edward, because he did save the AK-47, so he didn't make any money off that round. So he actually, with that $800, that extra bonus that he gets, he can now afford a much stronger buy.
And we've actually got a timeout for Na'Vi now. I don't know. It looks like they've got a monitor issue, possibly. Yeah, there we go. Okay, referees are coming out. I was like, you're 13-7 up. I don't know if it's really warranting.
Might not be time for the tactical pause.
Not yet. But we can start diving into the kind of impact that we've been seeing from Guardian, at least on his CT side, and how that may, I guess, echo into the T side that he's now been able to pick up, because World Edit didn't really have much of a chance to get going either. So not really having much of an AWP battle. Once those double AWPs came out for Na'Vi on the first half, there was so little resistance coming out from Flipside. So this could be the first couple of interesting battles here.
But this is the danger for World. I mean, even just for Flipside in general, they were so suffocated in that first half. No one really had any chance to get going. They didn't really have anyone who you could say started feeling the game a little bit better, was reading it very nice, was having a big impact. So, I mean, Blade, surprisingly, is the one for this team, which I said, something's going wrong, but he's having a massive performance. He's at 22 and 16. It is someone like World Edit who needs to have that impact with the AWP, who's got to get going, but no chance in that first half. And can he actually bounce back in the second half with how that first half went?
It's a big question. And the thing with Blade, in my eyes, sometimes his stats look deceiving to a degree, because he shouldn't be the one at the very forefront. But let's take Mirage, for example. CT side, he'll be sat on that A site. And to be fair, he has a fantastic read into the game individually. He can play it extremely well. So sometimes you'll see him actually picking up a lot of kills there, but it's always supported by either Waylander coming through or maybe a World Edit coming in. There always should be someone else very much at the forefront. But for him on the T side, to be the one having such of an impact, that, as you said, is very much a questionable point. So hopefully for Flipside, there are other players there that can start finding a little more than what they've had previously, because that's just not enough.
This first round is going to be the big test. With World Edit and Guardian, they're going to have that duel with the two AWPs, so we'll have to see which one. I mean, that's going to be a big tell for this entire half. If World Edit can start winning this consistently, if Flipside can start grinding back into this game, that'll be massive.
It's a bit of a tough task here for Flipside, let's bear in mind. It's not an easy one. The scoreline of the first half was extremely condemning, but they haven't dropped around since. They've built back through it. The money has been a little shaky for them. It's barely stabilized now, so it's still on a bit of a knife's edge, but by this point, they kind of have to invest into any round anyway. That's such a small bit of room to work into if they did lose the next couple.
That is the good news, is that Flipside, they have the money to be able to sustain some losses. They can lose a round and still buy and get back into it. So they've at least given themselves enough of a cushion where they can make a mistake and they won't be massively punished for it. Obviously, they don't have many to give up because Navi's already at 13, but at least losing one round isn't going to just crush their economy and then they have to do some kind of miraculous force buy. They have the money to rebuy into an AWP again.
It looks like we're almost ready to go. We are. So we are back into game. No worries there. And now Guardian on the AWP. This is what we want to see. Guardian, World Edit. This is the battle we want to be finding. I don't know if Guardian's going to start things off with a bang. Waylander and Blade better be careful, because there is a very deadly man staring down just very close as to where you are. And it looks like a bit of a default A hit coming out so far from Na'Vi. And, you know, the pace this time, a little bit slower than before. They have been showing some real stances of aggression, which is quite unique. And a little bit of a peek up and above there from Guardian. Not going to find much out from it, however. No one playing towards the trains. But again, not seeing a player can give you just as much information, saying, well, they're not playing it. Maybe they're sitting deeper on the side, or maybe they're pushed up close. Let's see how they adapt going forwards here, as Flamey and Seas will be the ones going down through Ivy. It's Edward and Guardian who might make their way through.
Actually, World at the start of that round was in a position where he wouldn't even battle with Guardian unless Guardian overcommitted to that outer site. So they don't want him to duel quite yet. That Molotov at least forces that stack away. Still, NaVi haven't moved across the map, have not applied too much pressure. This is all NaVi set up to give Guardian time to find that pick. Now they can start making moves. Now the individuals have a little bit more freedom because Guardian's been forced off of it. 45 seconds left. Somebody's got to make something happen. They've got to get the intel needed to know where to make this call.
And you've got to give credit here to Flipside. They're not just giving all their utility away early. They still retain some smokes. They've still got some flashes if they need it, either for the retake or for trying to halt what's coming their way. Guardian still having no real success here, finding these openers that are so often gifted, but it's seized to find Markloff. But then again, look at this stack. It was all over towards B, but they're adjusting. But now where did NaVi take this? They've traded out 1-for-1. They know roughly where Blade is. Guardian's put himself down by Pop. Blade retracts in, and now suddenly Flipside need to readjust themselves. They're out of position. Zeus barrels forward, and this is sheer firepower coming into play here for NaVi. Down to 10 seconds. The bomb finally comes in, and it's retake time. But with 3 players, this is incredibly tough.
Yeah, this is a sick executed tactic from NaVi. There's Shara with 1 kill on a Flamey, not expecting that. They know one's above. Can Shara figure it out? He can't. Zeus gets that shot, and that position is way too strong at this point. World Edit does find him, but there's Edward at range. A huge round for NaVi. They're going to get up towards 14.
And again, I'm so thoroughly impressed with your Zeus and your Seas. These two have been the headliners for me. It's not just the filler frags, it's the openers. It's the ones to create opportunities into these rounds, which generally you see, all right, it's Flamey or it's Guardian. These two are having big moments.
That 1 kill from Seas was huge, because once they realize that Seas is the only one there, they think it's a fake towards the inner bomb site, and everyone rotates in, and then NaVi just switches it up at the last second. They go down ladder, they go towards that outer bomb site, and Seas is essentially a fake of a fake.
Brilliant. Now, the one thing you've got to point out here is Markloff has been trying to pick up the double orb, and it seems to be so hit and miss. There is so little consistency when you watch this guy play. Sometimes it is off the charts. Other times he's been completely wrecked down by Ivy.
I think on a certain level, though, anyone who watched some of the history of Counter-Strike, Markloff, one of the most storied operas, is just happy to see it in his hands. I know Anders is crying
grinning right now. Yeah. There is a big smile there, which has been wiped off his face.
Markloff is crying as well.
Oh, Markloff, why? Every time you give us hope when you do this, we all start, you know, wondering if maybe it's that moment, but it's not. It's definitely not. There's now 5v4. You didn't need to give NaVi any help or any step towards getting these rounds in the bag, especially not opening kills. But Shara and World Edit, it's still on the B site. Could have some play here.
NaVi just has to wait. Seas has a huge flank going on. He has been spotted. I'm actually surprised they're committing here. They do run right into that. World Edit can get one more. Yeah, if they had just been a little bit more patient, he would have got both these kills, but still, they're waiting it out. Now they're being patient. And World Edit, there's a clock on how much longer he's going to live.
Do it. Do it.
Why not? Oh no! Oh no!
Okay.
It's just a little bit of a teaser.
No one saw anything.
It's okay. We're back in the room. Flamey with another kill. That's huge, and Blade's gonna fall right afterwards, but geez, what a letdown.
What was that? just
I think he just wanted. Yeah, he just. I think he thought that was just gonna be a backstab, like a 1-knife kill. Doesn't work out that way.
I think World Edit just turned enough that it wasn't the 1-stab, to be fair, which was incredibly lucky. More than anything, maybe. I don't know.
He's probably freaked out more than we did.
And the one brilliant thing is that NaVi, when Train first came back into play after the remake and it all got changed around, the one thing with NaVi that I used to love is they used to have this crazy B hit when they split through Ivy. They go all the way through CT on their T side, and they did this insane play. So it's kind of nice seeing some of that still there, just given the opportunity of, you know, back of Markloff overextending. But we're at 15-7. NaVi on the doorstep of closing this one out, breaking the back of Flipside. I'm pretty much just breaking that spine in half at this point. Blade at least going to put up a good fight here, but there's still so much more left with NaVi to build back into this round. And that gun, they can try and recover it, but not the easiest task with Guardian in the way.
Yeah, Caesar's had some good success as well, getting at least the initial kill coming out of Ivy, and he's going up against Markloff, who doesn't have a weapon. Well, there is a second player rotating over to set up a crossfire. Zeus is waiting for that. They're going to clear the corner. They see nothing. Nade comes out, sees this is his chance, but he spots 2, and he commits to Markloff. That allows Blade to get the kill, and now there's really no chance of exit until these 2 kills come out. Zeus, Flamey, and Guardian so quick, all 3 kills, and Guardian, he knows where Waylander is, and he's going to let him walk right into his crosshair, and it's all over. Flamey with the last kill on Ashara, 16-7 for NaVi in the opening match.
And that first side performance from NaVi was just so condemning. There's no two ways of saying it. That first side looked deadly. Flipside showed a couple of signs of life. There's no taking that away from them. They started to look decent, but then again, it was how long until Guardian gets that AWP? How long until they break? How long until one opening pick is found, and then that's enough to spiral?
And how long until C's has some kind of crazy impactful round? Because he was really, I mean, you know, we mentioned the scoreboard a couple times. They were all very, very close in terms of their statistical output and frags. But it was C's who had all the high impact plays that just put him above everyone else. He was the one making things happen for NaVi, and that's another sick performance for him in the books.
On the other side, though, Blade taking nothing away from him. He certainly had moments himself, but that does pretty much give questions across the board to everyone else there on the Flipside side.
Yeah, that was very surprising. Very, very cool to see Blade putting in that kind of work, but you know, it needs to come from other places because he's the one setting people up to have success. And if he's getting the kills, that means earlier on in the tactic, you know, something went wrong for his teammates, and that was the issue. I mean, we saw it a couple times. Good starts to some of these rounds on their T side. That half that was so one-sided towards NaVi, and just couldn't close them out. Too much individual performance on NaVi's side.
Great stuff from NaVi there. So guys, we'll be back after a very short break, but hopefully you've enjoyed the show so far. NaVi certainly having a good time in this one, and Flipside might have to go back to the drawing board here as NaVi just pretty much took him to school. So guys, back after the break.